Hello and welcome to my July newsletter video update. The markets have still been churning around since my last newsletter video update to you, and I have lots to share in this video, including an update on one of my weekly system trades and some daily system trades as well. If you missed my last newsletter video, you can view it from my website or my YouTube channel. Now before I get started, I just need to remind you that I'm not licensed to provide any personal investment advice. This video and all the charts and trades I share are for illustrative purposes only, and I am just showing you how I view the current market and sharing this with you. So let's head on over to Metastock and check out what's been happening in the market. On the screen here is a chart of the ASX 200. Now the ASX 200 has developed a nice upward trend channel, which has only started to become evident. And you can take this uptrend line and put a parallel line above it, and that's what makes it an uptrend channel, where you've got touches on the bottom of the channel several times, and there's equal touches on the top of the channel line. Within this period, there's also been some wide swings, of course, and the market has been having trouble moving beyond the 6,000 level since earlier this year. Now in Australia, we have just ended our financial year, and the Aussie market has only risen 1.2% over the financial year since the 1st of July 2014 through to the 30th of June 2015. And you can see that where the market was trading at this level at the start of the financial year, and yes, it did have a beautiful rise up and hit the 6,000 level and managed to have a 15% rise in this period from its lows here to its highs up here. But then it fell all the way back to its uptrend channel line, and that's where it's ended the financial year. So it does not look like a very big return for the financial year, but there was a nice rise during that period of 15% in here, and I know that I got a nice boost with my trading returns during this period just here as well. But the fallback did cause one of my new weekly trades to hit its stop loss. But since then I have found some new trades, and I also had a nice period of short selling in here, and now we could possibly be in for another market bounce. If we go over to the daily chart, you can see the trend better in here. I'll just zoom out, and you can see the financial year period in here. From this point here where it had trouble breaking resistance, and it did break, but it had a strong fall, did go sideways, and then finally took off over here, but had trouble with this 6,000 level. And since then it's fallen back down. Now for some reason you can't see the upward trend on here, and if this happens to you in Metastock, the reason for it is if you go to the weekly chart, it just means that the upward trend line is just a little bit too long. And if you just take it back a little bit, then you go back to the daily chart, there you go, it's on the daily chart. It means it was extending off the screen on the weekly, and because that data didn't exist on the daily, it couldn't display it. So you can see how the market has really fallen back down, and it actually developed a downward channel in here on the daily chart. But thankfully it has broken through this downward channel, had a little bit of pullback, and appears to be bouncing up and getting a bit of support around the 5,550 level right now. So it will be interesting to see whether it can track back up to the 6,000 level, and if it does, can it break through? That part I don't know, and only time will tell what the market's going to do. For me, all I can do is just trade my systems and the signals that it's giving to me and manage everything based on my money management rules and stop loss strategies. Now let's check out what the US markets have been doing over this same period. I'll just close this down. On the screen here is a weekly chart of the S&P 500. Now the S&P 500 has been trending up beautifully and really now starting to get resistance at this point here, where it's struggling to break through. Now over the same financial year period, where it opened back here in July 2014 and closed here on the 30th of June 2015, it's only had a 5% rise in there. So once again, it's not a big rise, but the market did have a 9.5% fall over here, and then it managed to rebound 14.5% here. So there was quite a bit of turbulence in that activity there. If we go over to the daily chart, and I just zoom out a little bit, you can see the activity during the financial year period. Over here, big fall here, then the rebound, and it's really been churning around since then. And right now it's really struggling to break this price level here. It actually looks like it's forming a support point there, and right now it's churning sideways in a bit of a sideways channel. So it's going to be interesting to see what's going to continue to pan out here, whether it's going to stay in this channel or something's going to break soon. And something will eventually break, it's just a matter of how long that takes to happen. So next I want to share some of my trading system trades with you. As you know, I trade the markets with two trading systems. I have my medium-term daily trading system that focuses on trading CFDs, and it can hold shares from a few days to a few weeks, and it trades both long and short direction. And over the past month it has been trading both short and long. So I have had some short trades running with that market downturn, and I have built into some long trades recently with the bounce back up. I also have my weekly long-term system, which focuses on holding shares for anywhere from a few months to a few years. It's my long-term trend following system. But both these systems have stop losses set in place, and that is my lifeline in the market. And unfortunately, from time to time, sometimes stops get hit and you do take a loss, and that's part of the game of trading. But I'd rather keep those losses small and those winners much bigger. So let me share an update with one of the trades I had in my last newsletter video with you now. On the screen here is a chart of Ainsworth Gaming. Now, I bought into Ainsworth Gaming on the 15th of May when it broke up from this ascending triangle pattern. And the strategy is when it breaks through the resistance line, that's when it's going to start its new trend. And it did break through its resistance line. It made a new high. My weekly trading system gave me a signal, so I entered into it. It was also trading above that nice round number of $3. Unfortunately, it didn't last very long and it completely collapsed. I wasn't concerned at first because it still had the uptrend line in place. And then lo and behold, it continued to fall and my stop loss was hit on the 29th of June, which was 45 trade days later. So I didn't even have a chance for that stop loss to move into profit. And that's the period when the Aussie market took the fall from the top of its highs down to the bottom of its uptrend channel. So during that 45 days, I took a negative 21.5% loss on that trade. Now that might sound like a big loss. That's basically the drop from $3.11 to my exit point of $2.46. But I position size this trade based on a percentage of my risk, and I only lost 1R multiple on this trade. And when I talk about 1R multiple, if you're trading with an account of say $50,000 and you are prepared to risk 1% or 2% of that amount, 1% would be $500, 2% would be $1,000. Based on where my stop loss is going to be set, that determines how many shares I can buy. Then I must exit if my stop is hit, and I know that if my stop is hit, I will lose my 1% of my capital. And that's what happened. So if I'm risking 2% on $50,000, that means I lost $1,000 on this trade. So I want to make sure that no one losing trade goes beyond that point. Now, this actually turned out to be my biggest losing trade out of my weekly system for the financial year. And that's part of trading. I'm going to win some and I'm going to lose some. But as long as I win much bigger than I lose, that's how I become profitable in the market. And I shared with you in my last newsletter video a weekly system trade that was one of my big winners out of my weekly system. But in the meantime, while I've been stopped out of this trade, I have opened up a new weekly system trade, and I want to share this one with you now. So I'll just close this down. On the screen here is a chart of a share that I opened a trade on last week. This share had a long-term uptrend, rising from 30 cents all the way up to $1 where it built up resistance. And it hasn't been able to move beyond this dollar mark all year. And then last week, it burst through the dollar mark with nice strong volume, a gap move, and broke through that $1 mark. This is the sort of trade that I want to get in with my weekly long-term system. So I entered into it, and right now that trade is still open and running. And if you go over to the daily chart, you can see where that breakout happened and the day that I entered into it. And it has moved up quite strongly since. But I'm trading this with the weekly system, so I look at that trade based on weekly charts, and I also set my stop loss based on the weekly chart. So I'm going to continue to keep you updated on how this trade progresses in my upcoming newsletters. So let's move on now to some of my daily system trades. Last newsletter I shared this trade with you. I had opened up this swing trade on the 1st of May when the share had a nice strong move above this resistance level and came up in my daily scan. And when I talk about coming up in my daily system scan, that's because that day I ran my daily system scan over the ASX 300 stocks. I clicked on the report and this share came up in the report. Now I liked what I saw, so I bought into it. It moved up very nicely and my stop loss also moved up very nicely. It also broke through its next resistance level and then I also tightened my stop loss up. I still kept it below the resistance level to give it that opportunity to possibly bounce. Unfortunately it didn't bounce and my stop loss was hit on the 23rd of June at $2.38. And I am glad I exited because it continued to fall a lot lower, back down to where I entered the share Nelly. So I held that trade for 53 trade days. I made a 600% on the CFD margin because it was a CFD trade with a 5% margin. That equated to a 30.5% on the total trade size and it was a 2R multiple win. So I made 2 times my risk size on that trade. Now this trade is UGL Limited. Now along with this trade in my last newsletter video I shared a short trade that I had open. So let's see what panned out with that one now. On the screen here is Commonwealth Bank. Now I put a short position on Commonwealth Bank when it came up in my daily short scan. It had clearly broken through the $90 support level here. Nice gap move and strong volume. It fell very heavily, started to get a little bit of support and I actually tightened my stop loss up. Fell again, hit the support level and then it bounced. And I was taken out on the wick of the candle when it bounced on the 16th of June. So I held that short trade for 47 trade days. It had a 5% margin. That was 131% on the margin amount. And based on the total trade size, that was a 6.6% return. And it was a 1.5R multiple win on that one. So I'm just sharing you an update with where those trades are at that I shared in my last newsletter video. And let me now share with you a couple of open trades that are running right now. Because I have had a mix of short trades open while the ASX has fallen, but with the bounce I have opened up a couple of long trades as well. So let me share a short and a long trade with you that is currently open. On the screen here is a share that I entered short with a CFD on the 18th of June. It had broken through this nice support level here and it came up in my daily scan before the market closed that day. So I entered short at $51.44. It has moved beautifully and continued to go lower, even going lower again today. And right now that trade is still open and you can really see the volume is still increasing with these strong down moves here. So I'll keep you updated with how this trade progresses in my next newsletter video. Let's move on to another open trade that I have. Here's a long trade that I have opened with my daily swing trading system. The share had had a nice fall and you can see a short-term downtrend on the daily chart. Then it bounced up and actually broke through this support level here, which had become a little bit of resistance to the stock. And it moved up with a nice white candle and came up in my daily scan. So I liked what I saw, so I simply bought into it. So I bought in on the 14th of July at $4.18. And that trade is still open and active in the market right now. Of course, I have no idea what's going to happen with any of these trades, and that's why I have a stop loss running in the market, and that stop loss trails upwards as the share goes my way. If it's a short trade, then it trails downwards. So as I mentioned, I will continue to keep you updated on how these trades pan out. Before I finish up, don't forget how important it is to have a trading plan in the market. That is the key to my trading success. If you don't have a trading plan and you need help, then check out my book Smart Trading Plans. It's available to purchase from my website or in Kindle version from Amazon. And if you want to know more about my trading systems and strategies, then check out my Smart Trading Plan and System Development online course. It has just been updated and the new version is now live. I've been working all year recording webinar videos and updating this course, and this new course is more comprehensive and chock full of my trading strategies and techniques, and you can now buy it online and start the course now. And the feedback from this new online course has been amazing. All my clients that had purchased the course previously get access to this new upgraded course, and I have received some amazing emails telling me how much they are enjoying the new course. And the good news is that as it's an online course, you can undertake it in the comfort of your own home. You can work at your own pace, and you can repeat the course as many times as you like. You can also re-watch certain sessions and download audios to take with you on the run. Now, this course is available to purchase on its own or in a deluxe or ultimate smart training pack with extra inclusions, and this is to ensure that you are completely set up to manage and track your trading. And there is also personal mentoring available in the ultimate smart training pack, and that's personal mentoring with me that we do through private webinar videos, and that's so that I can make sure you are completely set up with everything correctly. And I will also take the time to review your trading plan, because I recommend you writing your trading plan as you go through the online course. And don't forget, if you haven't already, check out my website. There's lots of information on here, and there's also my free special report. Simply enter your name and email on the homepage, and I'll send you my top 10 tips to smarter trading. Plus, you'll also go into my database and get notified when my next newsletter video is available. If you have any other questions, feel free to contact me. My contact details are in the Contact Us area on my website. Goodbye for now.